Family to Family Incorporated is a non-profit organization operating on Camiguin Island in the southern Philippines. They are dedicated to providing medical and educational assistance to children in need. Tom and Diane Palmieri founded Family to Family in 1975 when they moved to the Philippines.
I'm from New York, and I first came over here in the Jesuits when I was 21. My first exposure to the Philippines, and later on I wanted to come back. So after working in Vietnam for a couple of stints, I ended up coming back over here.
I'm from Iowa. I grew up in Iowa and became a nurse in college and went to Vietnam because I wanted to give back some of what I received in getting an education, and that's where I met Tom. And after we both returned to the States, we still wanted to do more work in Asia, and so we went back to Vietnam again to work for another organization, and then directly from there came on here to the Philippines, and it was my first time to do any work here in the Philippines. Once we got here, we saw that there were a lot of needs, and we let people know about what we were doing here, especially family and friends, and some of them started sending us money to help us out to do the very simple things. We started out with a feeding program and took in foster babies, and then we decided we should really formally incorporate our organization so that we could get donations from people who were interested in having it tax deductible and so on. So we got incorporated in the United States, and then later we got incorporated here in the Philippines as well.
Family to Family Incorporated takes a multifaceted approach to caring for the children of Camiguin and the surrounding area. Diane's patient visits are a key part of this approach. She makes the trip around the island to see handicapped children at least once a month. Diane's visits take her all around the island, around the coastal road, as well as up the sides of the volcanoes that make up the interior. She drives a World War II-era Jeep to ensure that she can reach patients anywhere. Diane conducts most of her visits in Visayan, as most of her patients do not speak English.
Basig magkuan sa dito mo sa katong aso ba?
Because the patients cannot afford even the most basic medical care, Family to Family must provide everything from food to bandages to medication. Diane encounters all types of cases, from the very simple to the extremely rare.
He was trapped in a field of grass that caught fire in the middle, and then he had the slippers on, so the bottoms of his feet didn't get burned with this whole area here. It's like second degree, I think. So it's going to take a lot of work.
This little boy is mentally ill, deaf, and was born with closed tear ducts. There are no schools on Camiguin or in the surrounding area with resources sufficient to help a child like him. Children born with malformed limbs are quite common on Camiguin. Family to Family purchased a special prosthetic boot for this boy. Cases of cleft lip and cleft palate are very common in Camiguin. Family to Family helps with these cases and just recently paid for 4 children to undergo surgery to repair their lips and palates. This little girl was born with both hips dislocated and also has severe, uncontrollable clenching of her hands and feet. Surgery to correct her problems would be commonplace in the United States. However, her family cannot afford such an expensive medical procedure. Family to Family funds a physical therapy clinic for handicapped children. Without such physical therapy, some of these children would never have any hope of walking. This boy recently had surgery to correct for walking on his toes. He has had some complications and can still not walk properly. Family to Family has covered his medical expenses, and Diane checks up on him frequently. Diane often visits the hospital many times a week to visit her patients who may need more extreme care. Even though some of Family to Family's patients may have medical insurance, it is not enough to cover their full medical costs. This boy was severely burned on his torso and pelvic region. He has had problems with contractures, and therefore his medical treatment has taken longer than expected. One of the most horrific recent cases is this little boy, who fell into a pot of boiling water and suffered severe burns on his back. His father stands next to the bed, fanning the flies away from his burns, but looks distraught as Diane tells him that there is nothing to do but wait for the burns to heal.